I'm not a dating chick. I wanted a husband, but I wanted a good husband. 'Cause I always thought I was a good wife. I never saw my mom be a wife because my mother raised 6 children by herself. My mother rode 2 buses to work every day to get to work in the winter in
Wow.
Kansas City.
Hmm.
So I saw my mom be a strong mother, but I never saw her be a wife.
Hmm.
So
Top of the morning, the afternoon, and the evening to you. I am your host, play your partner, Anthony Moore, Ant Mo, for those of you who may know for sure, and welcome to Cultivating Conversations, where we curate cultivating conversations for the culture. Now we got a special guest in the building. She gonna cut up, because that's what she do.
no, I don't.
Yeah, we got Tammy Dozier in the building. But let me introduce the people just a little bit on my own, what I've came up with for you.
Okay.
We have a nationally certified grief educator and loss coach, business and individual grief services speaker, the ministry midwife, an author, a lay pastor, a wife, a believer, a communicator, a mentor, a faithful friend, and an esteemed guest on today's show. Some call her Tammy Dozier, but I call her Mama D.
Hey now.
Welcome to Cultivating Conversation.
All right, you did good, Anthony.
I try to do a
Yeah.
little stuff. She try to be kind because you just give me a hard time for 30 minutes
For
straight.
30 minutes, we've been at it. But thank you for having me, honey.
I appreciate you for showing up. You
Yes.
came in your fine linens. You got
Yeah.
some silk on.
Little something
You know
for
what
the
I'm saying? A
people.
little Chanel brooch. All right. So there was a lot of things that I did list. I hope I did you justice. But I want to ask particularly about one to start off. Ministry midwife.
Mm.
Please tell me some details about that.
Okay, so ministry midwife came about because for years I've been in ministry since 2005.
Graduated high
And
school that year.
behind, okay, youngster. Uh, really?
Yes.
Okay, youngster. So for years I've been in ministry, but when I started ministry, I really didn't have a lot of help because people didn't really believe in women preaching. And so a lot of things, a lot of mistakes I made on my own. And it wasn't until I came to my church home where Dr. Goins kind of took me under his wing. And so I knew that there were a lot of women in ministry that just didn't have help, even from their own husbands. Thank God I had the support of my husband and family and friends, but I recognized that there was help that was needed. And so I began doing it behind the scenes, Miss Dozier, Pastor Dozier, Mama D, I'm having a conference, I'm having a workshop. Can you walk me through it? Can you give me the do's and the don'ts, the ins and outs? And so from there, ministry midwife, became a thing.
So I had never heard of that, but it's something that Darius Daniel speaks about, where
Mm.
it's almost the idea of like you are the bridge in between certain things, right? And
Mhm.
and what we often forget about in the church, even number one, to operate in excellence, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Right.
But it's the idea of like creating things, being
Mm.
something that wasn't originally there.
Mm.
Right. We know the terms of the bishops and, the pastor, even associate pastor, all
Right.
those titles that we could have,
Right.
deacon, even. But it's like, to be the ministry midwife, to be able to create this lane that is very much needed.
Mhm.
It's a lot of people that come in and it's like, well, can you mime? Can you sing? No, do you put the white gloves on and usher people down? It's like there's so
Yeah.
much more nuance that is
Yeah.
needed,
Yeah.
especially within today's church. So I
For
think a
sure.
title like that is so necessary. A role like that is so necessary. So I definitely wanted to start off with that.
Oh,
But
thank you.
let's go back now. You are so I know you probably don't even remember now, but one of my
He's
first
he's
interactions
getting
with
ready
you.
to start, yeah.
No, 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 no. Let me just tell you about me. I'm a sensitive young man.
Okay.
My whole life,
I
my heart's
already know
just
what
been
you get.
wide open.
I already know what you're getting ready to say. Go ahead
And
though.
I forgot what happened. I don't know because I had never previously met Mama D at that point. But she snapped on me a little bit. She got a little snappy. She didn't snap on me. She got a little snappy with me in the moment. I don't know what was going on. I wasn't gonna disrespect her, but and I'm not a disrespectful person, but it hurt. How she responded to me hurt my feelings a little bit, and so I didn't say nothing. A week go by, and she came up to me after church, and she said, "Hey, can I talk to you for a second?" I was like, "Sure." And so she was like, "I just want to apologize for how I was with you last week." She was like, she said whatever she said, but she don't know how much I really appreciated her for just in the moment admitting that she may have handled the situation in a way that maybe wasn't just her best self at that time. It's like
Absolutely.
everybody has good days, bad days. But the fact that she was a mature adult woman enough, a elder type lady in the church that people look up to, and she didn't just brush it off,
Right.
it completely changed the way that I viewed her. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like we humans, right? So you could take offense,
Sure.
we could hold grudges, we could let that one moment dictate the rest of the interactions, and we
Absolutely.
need more of that in the body. And so I always appreciated you for that. And since that day, she been Mama D. So
Well, thank you for sharing.
for sure,
Yeah.
she thought I was going.
No, but no. Either way was fine because you're exactly right.
Mhm.
I think people often take advantage of titles and roles and feel like they don't have to apologize, or don't have to say, "As will you forgive me?"
Right.
And so, with that, I think God used that opportunity and that moment for us to connect, even now after all these years. Yeah,
Over 10 years at
over
this
10
point.
years.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one of the best sons she got.
yeah.
So
Did
see
y'all
our
hear
kids.
that? He said
Yeah,
he's one of the
yeah.
best sons I
One of the
had.
best. Cause I don't
But
can't speak for
Sunday,
everybody. I'm
well,
just one
well,
of them.
Sunday's coming and it's Mother's Day, so we'll see.
Ooh. She
Yeah,
right about that.
yeah. And I'm gonna blast him on social media, so we'll
She
see
don't like
Sunday.
flowers. She don't like smell good. We
I
gonna
like
figure
yellow.
something
I
out.
like yellow roses, and I like massages,
Ooh, okay.
and I like dinner.
Put it out there.
Yeah, why not?
Call them up, tell them what you want. Okay. So one of the many titles that you have, one
Oh,
of them is an author.
yes,
Um, Death of a Bag Lady?
death of a bag
Death
lady.
of a Bag Lady.
Death of a bag
What
lady.
does it mean to be a bag lady? And how did you get there?
Okay. How was I a former
Yes.
bag lady?
Yes, for sure.
The title.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the book itself is a memoir. It's actually a four-part series. It started as, I don't know if you remember, but it was actually a monologue that I presented over the country, around the country, different churches. It was in one woman stage, little stage play, and it walked people through my life, fatherlessness, childhood trauma, sexual molestation as a child, and how all that kind of divorce, because I'm twice divorced, but I've been married now for 22 years.
Amen.
Amen. So all of those things are big things that I began to stuff into a bag because I didn't want anybody to know that I was the girl with the little secret, because the man in the red truck that picked me up from school, who people thought was my dad, was actually my molester.
Wow.
And so I had to walk home from school and people said, "There's your dad over there. He's coming to pick you up." And I saw the truck, but I just continued to walk because I knew what was about to happen. So fast forward, I began just to kind of isolate myself. But then I just made the decision, Anthony. I wasn't going to be taken advantage of ever again in my life. I was going to be the one, pulling the reins and in control. So the baggage came because I wanted to look the part. So I tell people now, when people are carrying designer bags and wearing designer stuff, means nothing because I had it years ago before it was a thing.
Yeah.
But I got it with the wrong way. I've had cars, I've had the this and the that, fur coats, all the things, but it meant nothing because it was just a part of the baggage that I had collect. So when I presented Death of a Bag Lady and the book, it, like I said, it kind of chronicles my life. It tells how I grew up without a father, but as we move further on along in the series, it kind of flips the script and it talks about the grief that I didn't even know that I was experiencing and the emotional trauma, and all the things that I was stuffing in that bag, trying to look the part, trying to go to the places and all the stores. And I remember one time I write in the book, I was at some friends. We were at a mall one time. This is 15, 20 years ago. I'm carrying this great big Louis Vuitton. This before they really even start carrying them. I had it up on my arm high. I wanted everybody to see it. They,
Can I give just a small sidebar about black people? Black people will hit you with that. I was doing it before it was a thing.
well,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
I had
yeah.
COVID before, it went worldwide.
Well,
But now keep
well,
going.
no. I'm going to tell you something funny about that. I had COVID before it was COVID. No, I'm so serious. I was in the hospital, y'all, in 2018.
It would have been 2019.
And they couldn't even diagnose what I had. And I was sick for months. So I digress. Yep. But I told you we were going to have fun, right, Mr. Cooper? So anyway, I'm carrying this bag and we're going through the mall. They're going to eat lunch. And I didn't have money to eat lunch.
Wow.
But I had the bag.
Yeah.
And that's what we do. We front. We want to look the part. We don't have a 401k.
Yeah.
But we want to look important. So that's kind of what the book talks about. It talks about discovering the love of Jesus Christ and knowing that all along I had a father.
It brings me to a couple thoughts. Number one, I know you could speak to the idea, because I know you don't or wouldn't try to speak for men, but it's the idea of women and the baggage. It even still goes into that bridge that I talked about, where you're trying to speak to those women who do this every day, and it may not be designer, it may be a man, it may be a child. The identity that is lost in trying to be something that you're not. How have you used that in the process of discovering yourself and bettering your relationship with God to be able to give that back?
I think for me, Anthony, it was just maturing. I don't know if you remember the story of the red truck in Dallas about me being passed out and drugged and drunk in the drug.
I'm familiar, but tell the people, because somebody may need to hear it.
Well, all that's in the book, but all it came about when you get tired, Anthony. I was tired. This is many years ago. I was the party girl. I could dance party with the best of them, and it was all God. I'd leave in a club one night in Dallas, and I believe to this day that I was drugged. Because when I was going home, I knew that I wasn't myself. I had a half a joint like I always did before I went out. I think I had maybe some Hennessy or a crack. My normal, what I do. But this night it was different. And I told some of my friends that I wasn't feeling well, that I needed to go home. And just like good girlfriends, they say, okay, we'll talk to you tomorrow. But I'm telling you, I don't feel good. I feel like I've been drugged or something.
Just like good girlfriend.
Just like a good girlfriend. So I try to leave, and I noticed that I don't think I can make. I was living in Irving at the time. I'm still working at the Irving Police Department, smoking weed, like I just said. And I get around the corner, and there's this chicken place, And I said, if I can stop there, maybe I can sober up, get something to eat, sober up, and make it back to Irving, Texas, Long story short of that, I bought the chicken, cussed the man out at the window because he didn't get my order right, because drugs and alcohol make you act a fool, And I wake up and it's the next morning and I'm still at the chicken place. I'm in the back. I've pulled to the back of the building to eat the chicken before I went home. And I wake up and it's the next morning. So God had kept me there, all night. And I think that was a turning point for me. Well, I don't think it was a turning point in my life to begin to share my story, not be ashamed of my childhood, because all of it flowed together. Because I didn't have a man, I was chasing men, and I didn't know I've been to church my whole life. Now, let me say that. I've never been out of church. At 61 years old, there's never been a time in my life that I can say that I've been out of church, but I didn't have a relationship with Christ for myself. And so I began to kind of try to get my life back on track and kind of change some things about my life. And I had to sit down. And then once I began to sit down and begin to cultivate that relationship, things begin to take a turn for the better. and I met my husband and we got married. And then people just kind of start calling me their mentor or their mom, and it's just one of those things that I thank God for, because I know some women right now, my age and older, who still are doing the exact same thing that we all were doing all those many years ago.
Shout out to
Yeah.
Matthew D, by the way, man. Strong silent type, y'all. He, in a few words. But you brought up something, and it's how I started with National Certified Grief Educator.
Mm,
Why grief? Why was that the road to go down, to learn about, to teach?
because it's everywhere. It's everywhere. It's unspoken.
Right.
It's the elephant in the room. It lands in pulpits, congregations, barbershops, plants, construction sites, but it's that thing that people don't want to discuss. And for me, I truly believe now, looking back, your life is purpose. Even the ugly things serve purpose. God doesn't waste our pain,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
And looking back, out of 6 children, I was the only one, Anthony, that wanted to go to the funerals with my mom. My mom was a servant. She was a missionary, back in the day. But if there was a funeral, I was going. If somebody was in the hospital sick, I was going with my mama. So it was just kind of inbred per se. And growing up, like I said, even through all my own situations, I became to realize that those situations had to be grieved. But nobody told me that. They said, just pray about it, it'll be okay. Pray about it, and you'll be all right. Talk to the Lord. And I did that,
Right.
and we should do that. But the Bible also tells us to seek wise counsel. And so, after my sister Regina passed away just 4 years ago, I had begun to search out certifications, because I was the bereavement pastor at our church for a while too, and it all kind of started coming together. This is a part of my purpose. This is a part of my call, and the fact that I wanted people to recognize, Anthony, that grief just isn't about somebody passing away. It's just not about death. It's about anything that we lose. So I hadn't grieved those failed marriages. I hadn't
Mm,
grieved the fact that I lost my childhood, my virginity, to an adult, to a
yeah.
grown man. I was a little girl, and I just kept living life and kept praying and kept going to church.
Yeah.
You know, so until we recognize that grief is not solely death, we just keep on that hamster wheel. But I'm going to work, but I'm going to church, but
Right.
I'm doing.
Still
Yeah.
looking apart. It
Still
it
looking the part.
it reminds me of the saying, you can't heal what you can't reveal, what you don't
Absolutely.
reveal. And it's
Yeah.
like you're going through life thinking that you're doing the best that you
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 do that, you
can,
know how.
but with those wounds
Mhm.
and those hurts, they stop you from really being in right relationship the way you can.
Uh-huh.
And
That's
sometimes
true.
people just don't know how,
They
you
just don't
know?
know how.
Um, so my question is, what does the world need to know about grief? And you've said a few things, but what is there one particular takeaway that people need to know about grief?
I tell people that unprocessed grief is like that cockroach that just shows up unexpectedly
Hmm.
when you turn on the light. When you think that you're okay, it's that wave that hits you when you're walking down the street. It's that thing that shows up in the middle of the night when you're trying to sleep. It's that phenomenon that we kind of find hard to determine, or to define, should I say. The technical definition of one of them is that it's the internal emotional response to loss of any kind. So grief is the internal emotional response to loss of any kind. But to define it per se and specifically can be different from you as it is to me.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't end,
Mm.
but we learn to grow around it.
Hmm.
So my sister Regina died 4 years ago, and I think about her every day. My mom died in 2006. I think about her every day. I carry them in my heart. I keep moving the best I can. I'm a lot better, and that's what we should be. We should live forward if we're grieving healthy, because there is a non-healthy version as well.
That's what I was gonna. That's because I believe I wanted to title this "Good Grief,"
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the question
That's my
is,
Christmas series that I do is Good Grief for the holidays.
so
Yeah.
and so that's the question, right? Like some things we should lose,
Hmm.
right? Some things are inevitable because that's life. So if it
Yeah.
is a pet, a parent, there's all type of things that we could lose. That is a natural process of life. But then there's certain things that you know maybe at the time it was horrible to go through divorce, but if you go through all of that to get to Matt, then
Yeah.
it's like, is there some aspect of grief that is good?
Hmm.
Maybe it's not as easy for us to process at times,
Sure.
to know the difference that requires a healthy vessel. But is there such thing as good grief? Because we clearly know it's such thing as bad grief.
Hmm. I think good grief could another definition. Um, how you process it. It's just like when you go to was it AA?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, I'm Tammy. I'm an alcoholic.
Mm.
It's the acknowledgement that I am grieving.
Yeah.
And I think that's a way we could say that it's good, because I've acknowledged that I'm here. I've acknowledged that I'm not the same person. I'm not the same person since my sister passed away. Regina, I
Mm.
always like to call her name. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not the same Tammy. I've learned. I've had to learn to live forward without my sister in my life. So I would say, good grief would be grief that's been acknowledged and processed.
That's so good. The idea that bad grief could just be allowing it to just sit in the room and exist, and you just, well, you stay over there, I stay over here,
Mm-hmm.
not realizing that is y'all gonna collide at some point,
Uh-huh.
or
And it's bad. And
yeah,
it's bad.
that's so good.
I was sharing with our sister Nicole Lazard.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw her podcast, but I was her guest last week, whenever it was, and we were talking about grief in men. And I was say I have three brothers and one husband, and I've seen each of them uh, walk through their grief journeys and experiences in grief. And I have had some men clients, male clients as well. And I can't speak for all men. I can't speak for all women. I
Right.
can speak about grief as a professional and with anybody, male or female. If you want to act as if you're okay, I tell them to deal with your grief before it deals with you, and it'll show up just like a roach, unexpectedly, and that's what it does.
Okay, so let's get to the brighter side of
Let's
things.
get to it.
Love and marriage. How, and we could even throw in the love of God in this whole process, the love of a faithful um husband. How did that help reshape your how you viewed life, how you experience relationships? How did marriage that third time being a charm and really falling at the feet of God, how did that help you?
Well, um, before I met my husband, Matthew, I was single for 4 years. And I was in that time between I was drunk at the truck and repenting and at drunk in back of the chicken place and just really wanting my life to change. Now, I'm not a dating chick. I wanted a husband, but I wanted a good husband. 'Cause I always thought I was a good wife. I never saw my mom be a wife because my mother raised 6 children by herself. My mother rode 2 buses to work every day to get to work in the winter in
Wow.
Kansas City.
Hmm.
So I saw my mom be a strong mother, but I never saw her be a wife. So what I learned about being a wife was biblical, biblically based and things like that. And after the failed marriages, yeah. Oh, thank you. After the failed marriages in the time of sitting down, I said, Lord, when I do this again, I want it to be right, because I didn't want to have four husbands. I'm like, my goodness, be like Liz Taylor.
Going for the high scope.
Right. And so after a time of being still, um, searching for the answers, uh, my late friend, Helen Williams, and her husband, who was now deceased as well, introduced me to my husband. Helen and I went to church together, and her husband worked with Matthew. And they introduced us, and Matt was different. Matt didn't have a Mercedes. Uh, he didn't have all the designer clothes. Matt had two daughters by two different women. But what I admired about him is that those two girls were a part of each other's lives. One here in Arlington and one in Louisiana. And I saw the care that he took to make sure that they were a part of each other's lives, putting one on the bus, one on the plane, coming to spend weekends with each other. And I was like, man, I wish I'd have had somebody like that in my life. So that was a turn on to see. And then he would call me from the library. You know how to read too? What, Lord?
Oh, hey, Matthew ran that old play. Calling from the library.
No,
well
seriously.
played, sir.
No, no. So, and he was interesting. He read books. He knew a lot about history. He liked to cook, and I like to cook. So we both enjoy because we both love all genres of music. So he was different. He didn't put on facades. You get what you get,
Yeah.
And we ended up falling in love. And I love the fact that he loved the Lord. We talked to each other sometime after church because he had his own church at that time that he was a member of. And I love that too, that I could talk to you on a Sunday or say, and you said I just came from church, or I was at church when that was important,
Right.
And I love the fact that when he traveled with the military, he'd always call me from wherever he was, or around the country. So, and we didn't see each other a lot early on either because he was still doing
service work.
My mind just went blank.
Was it? Wait,
it wasn't active duty. Reserves. Yeah, reserve. That's what you said, but I'm sorry, Army Reserve.
Now I got a question. This is just real quick, man. Is it offensive to call somebody a weekend warrior if they were reserves? Okay, so just asking. I was asking for a friend. But go ahead.
Can we get back to
this? yes.
So anyway, yeah, he would even call me before he would leave, or if we didn't see each other. I'll tell this quick story. We were supposed to go out to dinner. He was getting ready to go to summer drill somewhere in California, and his AC went out in his apartment in Arlington. I lived in Urban at the time, and I'm just so used to drama, And he said, well, we'll go out to dinner before I leave tomorrow. And then he called me back and he says, well, we're not going to be able to go out to dinner because they got to come and fix the AC and da-da-da. So we didn't get to see each other. So I think he went on his trip. And when he came back, I was still trying to be drama-filled about it, What's a man supposed to do? Sit over there and bake all night? And this
well, at least we had some shrimp.
Yeah, right. And it's funny you say that because we was going to Red Lobster in Irving.
What is it with y'all of these boils?
Yeah, but it was one of the things that kind of shifted, I think, for me, the way that I handle men trying to get my way. And so when he came back, if I remember correctly, he called, and I'm still kind of being huffy about it.
Yeah.
And the guy told me, he said, I got to go to work in the morning. You want to go eat or not?
Yeah,
And so we
yeah.
went to dinner.
Strong arm.
Yeah, we went to dinner. We went to Red Lobster, and I'm still, and he ate his food like it was. So I thought that he's not about none of this foolishness. That's over. That's a month ago.
Yeah.
We're gonna go ahead and enjoy ourselves while we can enjoy time. And so now, I'm not that person anymore. But sometimes I do have to be reminded, and we both that the time is important,
Yes.
and we can't be mad all the time. If you
Yeah.
still mad
Mm-hmm.
about something, come on.
Yeah.
If we've talked about it, we've came to it, and you still mad,
Right.
something's wrong. What haven't you processed?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a little girl that's still unhealed, or a little boy, because now you become a statue for a man. I tell my male clients, going in the room, and I don't have tissue on my face. Don't have me
No,
out
you
here looking
don't. You
crazy.
don't.
And
You
yeah,
still look good
well,
now. Don't
okay,
do that.
thank you, brother. Thank you, sir. And so I tell my male clients, deal with your stuff, brother.
Yeah.
I said, because then you come home, you got your man cave, but modern day men weren't meant to live in a cave.
Yes.
You
That's
weren't meant
good.
to live in a cave. You
That's
were meant
good.
to be in healthy environments where you can speak, share your thoughts, your emotions. I'm going in my office. Well, how long are you gonna be in there?
Right.
And that's good to have. I'm not
Yes.
saying that, but you can't stay in there
Can't be the
forever.
escape though.
It can't be the escape.
Yeah.
It can't be the escape, and it's not healthy, because now you become a statue of a man living in a caveman for real, for real.
Yeah. Those caves are always meant to be detours for a
Temporary.
specific reason if we
Mhm.
going biblically, right?
Sure, for sure.
So yeah, it's like what I take from that is that number one, Matthew had a certain level of maturity and leadership that you needed, that you
Absolutely.
maybe you didn't even really realize at the time.
Mhm.
Um and man, at the end of the day, we got to go start realizing that, like you said earlier, God is purposeful. You go through what you go through to get
Mhm.
to something or someone
Absolutely.
sometimes, right?
Absolutely. I
And I
agree.
think that's the hope, in our culture. And I'm two-time divorcee as well. I think oftentimes we think we're no good, damaged goods. And so not something that I'm proud of, but God takes you through those things and it's like you are better for him,
Mhm.
even with whatever you had going on at the time, to
Absolutely.
even be able to reflect and say, oh, he ain't going for that. And he had enough value that he offered to you in all ways that it was like, I gotta straighten it up.
Mhm.
This is my man. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So I definitely I appreciate that. And hopefully somebody takes that
Yeah.
and they know that, man, listen, your little stuff ain't who is for you is for you.
It's for you.
And that's friendships, that's relationships, romantically, jobs. Don't get so caught up in all of these things that you
Mhm.
don't look for the brighter
Mhm.
side.
And you miss you because I
Yes.
could have missed Matthew,
Yes.
because I was so used to, he did, like I say, he didn't have a Mercedes. He had a Mitsubishi Galant.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have S550. He didn't have what I was accustomed to.
Right.
But he was the man God meant for me. Yeah.
And God will strip all those things down, all
Stuff
the
that don't
preconceived
even matter.
notions of what we thought,
Stuff that don't
what our
even
heart was set
matter.
on.
Yeah.
And it's like when you get it the second go round, it get greater later.
They get greater later.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. So, couple more questions. We're gonna close it out.
Okay.
Who cultivated you the most in life?
Human being. That would be my mama.
Mm,
My mama.
yeah,
Yeah. You saw I got emotional.
yeah,
I
for
got
sure.
speaking about Sandra Dumas. Sandra Dumas. Man, an amazing woman. Amazing woman. I think that for me, my mom, I would say my mom, there have been others, but the foundation definitely came from my mom. Like I said, introducing me to the love of Christ. And I want to share this. Somebody might be thinking, and I always like to share this, especially when I'm speaking on women's stages about sexual assault and molestation. When I told my mom that I was being molested by her then boyfriend, it stopped. It never happened again. And that's not everybody's story. unfortunately.
Right.
I have women right now today that I know whose moms question, well, what were you doing?
Wow.
Well, you
Yeah.
shouldn't have went in there. Was you being
Yeah.
fast? I was 6. How was I being
Right.
fast?
Yeah. Ain't enough twirling through the house
Yeah,
in the world.
twerking, none of it,
Yeah.
because you were a child. I was a child. So I always like to tell people that about my mama. She saved me
Mm.
from that. And back then you really didn't see therapists per se, but we had a little clinic. I don't can't it was called the Metropos something. And I'll never forget, it was my first time seeing an overseas Indian person. She had a little red dot on her name.
Mhm.
And I don't know if I can call her name, so I won't. But my mom took me to her. And I remember she said, I want you to talk to her, tell blah, blah, blah. And that was my therapy per se, or counseling, if you
Yeah.
will. So I say it was my mama. She taught me the value of hard work. She taught me to serve others. She was always feeding people, Anthony. It's like, why are you giving away all the food? We had a big, tall, deep, we had a deep chest freezer, and then we had a
Mhm.
stand up one. And there was a place called Bickelmeyer's, and it was like a meat shop. And she'd go and she'd buy all this meat. She'd be giving it to all the other single moms. I'm like, well, we're not gonna have enough. And she said, well, it'll always be enough. She says, Tammy, if you give away, you always have enough.
Wow.
And that's how I am today.
You are exactly like that.
Yeah.
Living. She gave you mission.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Don't cry, Anthony.
Nah, don't do me like
Look
that.
like he got a little emotional too. You okay, Cooper? Everybody look a little emotional.
Here she go. What do you want your legacy to be?
Ah. Mm, mm, mm. That I loved people. That I was a straight shooter with people. That I had difficult conversations with people. Um, that, of course, that I love the Lord, with all my heart. But that I love people, that I serve people. Um, Not that I was an ordained pastor. Not that I was the grief educator, but that I loved people with all my heart. That I love some people enough to disengage when I've had to. Um, yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
That's good. Well, thank you, Mama D. You done pulled up, and we done got it done. Listen, man. Thank you all for watching another episode of Cultivating Conversations, where we curate cultivating conversations for the culture. I hope that you take away that you are good enough from this. That if you are have experienced loss of any kind, that it is something that needs to be dealt with.
Absolutely.
And you have a resource in Ms. Dozier to be able to help walk you through some of these things. Man, I'm your host, Anthony Moore. And as I end every episode, life is hard enough. So please don't just live elevated, and be exceptional. Until next time, I love you. May the Lord keep you. I'll see you on the other side. Peace.